From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I am Paranormal Phil, and tonight we're going to be talking about dating and relationships in the digital age and also in the time of COVID. We're going to talk about dating apps. We're going to be talking about how to meet people in this digital age. Is it still viable to meet people out on the streets, basically at bars and stuff like that? We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into some tips by expert in the dating field. So let me pull something up here. Let's see my chat here. And I want to welcome everybody to the chat. So let me type that in to the show. All right. So I want to actually pin that comment to the top. So welcome to the show. Like I said, tonight we're going to get into all kinds of dating and relationship advice and stuff like that. Now, later on I might open up the phone lines, but I'm not certain yet. So depends on how things go. Feel free to pop in the chat. If you're watching the show, pop in the chat. Say hi. Let me know you're watching. Everything like that. And also, let me do that real quick while I'm thinking of it. Talking the Night is listener, viewer supported. So be sure to go over to the link in the description where you can donate whatever you can. And I would greatly appreciate it. So again, like I said, we're going to be talking about dating and relationship. I'm going to pull up some websites here in a moment, but I want to actually do something here real quick and let people know that I am live now. And I'm going to do it on my phone so I don't tie up any more screens on my computer screen and everything like that. So let me let people know that I am live. I want to mute this. Or actually, hold on. I'm going to do it on my phone so I don't tie up any more screens on my computer. Okay, so I wanted to do that real quick. Like I said, I'm live now. Let me get these shared real quick and then we'll get into everything. Now, if you've ever had any dating experience with the digital age and everything like that, pop in the chat. Let me know what your experience is, because like I said, later on we might open up the phone line depending on how things go. And I want to hear your experiences with dating, or if you're having trouble, maybe something I mentioned tonight with these articles and everything like that might actually help you. I know it. I've had trouble dating, but that's because I've been basically so busy with school and everything like that, trying to get my life in order. But I have tried the dating apps and everything like that, and it just hasn't worked. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm being too nice, and that just doesn't hold weight. But we'll talk about that in a moment. So, let's see. All right, so that's shared there. So I'm going to share it a couple other places real quick. And hopefully people tune in. But I want to like I said, pop in the chat if you're watching. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes to hopefully allow people to pop in the chat and join the show. Copy, post. All right, and just a couple more pages, just because there are groups that might actually have people tune in. Post. And one more, and then we'll get into the topics. All right, so let's get into the whole topic of dating and relationships in the digital age, and also the time of COVID. I know this time year it's been difficult for a lot of people, especially if they're used to meeting people out in bars or at college campuses or anything like that, and it's been difficult. Especially with just relationships and everything like that. I've noticed more domestic disputes and stuff like that, especially in my apartment complex, with people arguing that are in relationships. Not saying it happens to everybody, but it does take a toll. It's something to drink here. So it takes a toll and everything like that. So let's get into the articles here. Let me go here. All right. So this first article is by Pew Research Center, Dating and Relationships in the Digital Age. Of course, all the links for what I'm going to be talking about tonight are in the description down below. And I forgot to mention it. Hopefully you checked out saw the entrant or the new animated logo for my show. That's what I'm gonna be using to start my show off with. I just gotta find a way to make it easily transition over to my logo. Have a little smoother transition, but for right now, that'll do. So again, this is from the Pew Research Center. Excuse me. Dating and relationships in the digital age. Now, this is nothing new. We've been doing digital age stuff as far as dating apps. There's so many out there. Even Facebook has gotten into the game of dating with their little dating app within their social media. And everybody, as you can see in this picture, everybody's on their phones, on their computers, dating, or even if they're going out, they're busy with their phones rather than enjoying time with the person that they're trying to date, to get to know, rather than, but they're so busy typing on their phones. Like, that's not what dating is, and it takes away from it. But let's see what this article says. Amid growing debate about the impacts of smartphones and social media on romance relationships, a Pew Research Center survey conducted in October of last year, before everything got locked down, finds that many Americans encounter some tech-related struggles with their significant others. And again, like I said, it's not just finding somebody, but people that are in relationships are having trouble because they're so busy texting each other rather than to walk a couple. If they're in the same house, one's in one room, one's in the other, and rather than get up and walk to the other room to talk to their significant other, They'd rather send a text. I mean, kids are doing it these days with their parents, and we've lost that time of when relationships used to be actually meaningful, as far as like courting a woman if you're a guy, or well, let's see. I hear a lot that chivalry is dead. No, it's not. It's just that people are so stuck in the way things are now that they're not seeing it. I mean, I'm the kind of person that believes in chivalry, opening up the door for a woman, basically courting her. I mean, I guess I probably was born in the wrong era, as far as dating and meeting people. But I mean, I was born in an age when there wasn't all this technology. There wasn't cell phones. There wasn't compute. Well, there were computers, but they were mostly government computers and stuff like that, and big companies. But for the individual, they weren't really around until maybe I was in my like teens. Kind of dating myself there, but as far as my age goes, not that other kind of dating. But there wasn't all that back when I was younger. Nowadays, there is all this stuff. Like I mentioned, several different apps. Some good, some bad. And we'll get into some of the apps when we talk about them later. But it's just not the same. Now, continuing on, for instance, among partnered adults in the U.S., this is those who are married, cohabitating, or in committed relationships. Roughly half, 51%, say their partner is often or sometimes distracted by their cell phone while they are trying to have a conversation with them. And I want to make sure that nothing's blocking the way for this thing. Okay, I wanted to make sure. And 4 in 10 say that they are at least sometimes bothered by the amount of time the partner spends on their mobile device. And like I said, everybody spends a lot of time on their mobile device because it's so handy. Back when I was young, if you wanted all the stuff like a clock, phone, a radio, and all this other stuff, a TV, you had several different devices. Now it's all handy in one little device. And not just, like I said, cell phones, but computers too. Now, partnered adults under the age of 50 are now particularly likely to express the feeling that their partner is distracted by their phone, with those ages 30 to 49 most likely to report this. Now, I'm within that age, but I've gone on dates and I don't spend my time on the phone, but like I said, I grew up on a different era, time, and things were different. So, yes, I stay up with technology. I'm not completely lost, but if I'm going out there and spend time with somebody, I'm not going to spend my time on the phone because I want to spend that time with that person that I'm going out with. Now, fully 62% of 30 to 49-year-olds and 52% of 18 to 29-year-olds who are in a romantic relationship say their partner is at least sometimes distracted by their phone when they are trying to talk to them. Still, this issue is not confined to younger age groups. And you think, how can older people be distracted by their cell phones and stuff like that? Well, it does happen. Got somebody commenting on one of my photos on Facebook, so that was my notification. But I can't check it now because I'm live. Let's see, where was I? 41% of partnered Americans aged 50 and older say they have encountered this in their relationships at least sometimes. So it doesn't matter the age. If you have a cell phone these days, it can be very distracting. And people, do not basically sit down at the dinner table and talk anymore. We're so busy on our phones that we forget about the other person there. And it makes it even worse with this whole COVID virus thing going on. Now, with phones being such a distraction, people might be tempted to look through their partner's phone. However, there is a widespread agreement among the public that digital snooping in couples is unacceptable. 7 in 10 Americans, regardless of whether they are in a relationship, say it is rarely or never acceptable for someone to look through their partner's cell phone without the person's knowledge. However, it still does happen. I haven't had it happen to me, but I don't hide nothing because, like I said, when I'm out with somebody, I'm there with that person. I might look at my phone if the phone rings or if I need to look up something. But as far as using it throughout the date and everything like that, or even if you're in a relationship, you're going out to dinner, I'm not going to be there texting the whole time. I'm not going to be there scrolling up on or down on Facebook or anything like that, because I'm there to spend time with that person. Now, still 34% of partnered adults say they have looked through their partner's cell phone without that person's knowledge, with women being more likely than men to say they have done this, 42% versus 25%. That's 42% of women versus 25% of men. Now, this is just that study. But women tend to do that. I'm not saying that all women do that, but it does happen. And it does happen with men doing that for women because they think they might be cheating. But I've been cheated on. I know. And there's a way to tell other than looking through the person's cell phone. But we're not going to get into that in this show tonight. Now, for many adults, social media plays a role in the way they navigate and share information about their romantic relationships. And, of course, during this time, 2020, not many people have shared about their romantic relationship. And I begin to wonder, is it because there is more tension between partnered adults in relationships on lockdown and quarantine and everything like that? Could be. Roughly 8 in 10 social media users, 81%, report that they at least sometimes see others posting about their relationship, including 46% who say this happens often, but few say that seeing these posts affect how they feel about their own love life. Now, I, I admit I've had it affect me, seeing other people in relationship where I've been single for a good while, and but now I've seen that I need to make myself better because that's who I want to be. And if that other person can't see that, that's on them. But I need to work on me before I introduce somebody else into my life. But that's just me again. Moreover, social media has become a place where some users discuss relationship and investigate old ones. Roughly half of social media users, 53%, say they have used these platforms to check up on someone they used to date or be in a relationship with, while 28% say they have used social media to share or discuss things about their relationship or dating life. Now, there can be a little too much information put out there sometimes. I mean, it's fine to say you're in a relationship or you just got married. That's fine. But when you're posting every day about your relationship, people sometimes tend to get sick of that because maybe they're not happy with their lives. Maybe it does affect them a little more because maybe they're single. Again, not everybody, but it does happen. For adult users under the age of 30, those shares who have used social media to check up on former partners, 70%, or posted about their own love life, 48%, are even higher. But social media can also be a source of annoyance and conflict for some couples. Excuse me. Among those whose partners use social media, 23% say they have felt jealous or unsure of the relationship because of the way their current partner interacts with others on these sites. And this share rises to 34% among those ages 18 to 29. Now, those younger ages, they grew up in the digital age. Like I said, I grew up when there wasn't computers, there wasn't cell phones. We actually had phones with cords, and it's a whole nother story, but we didn't have that when I was growing up. But it's prevalent today, and these are what we need to understand with dating and relationships. That, yeah, your partner might feel like if you're on your phone and scrolling and everything like that, you're not paying attention to them. You're paying more attention to your phone, or you might be secretly trying to contact somebody. Now, I know women like to, or seen it in TV shows, and I'm sure it happens in real life, where they've called somebody to get them out of a bad dating situation where the date wasn't going good, and so they call somebody or make a trip to the bathroom and call somebody. And I mean, the way I feel about it is, if you're not feeling it with the other person, let them know. Don't just say, oh, I got to use the bathroom, or I got to take this call, or I got to run somewhere. I'm sorry. Let them know, because that triggers thoughts in their mind also that, okay, maybe this person is married, maybe this person is cheating on their spouse or partner, and we need to kind of go back to the old ways in a way. Now, still some users view these platforms as an important venue for showing love and affection. This is especially true for younger users who are partnered. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds social media users say social media is very or somewhat important for them in showing how much they care about the partner. But yeah, maybe they do now, but what happens, and I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not saying I'm innocent. I'm guilty of it myself. But, I mean, don't post too much information because that information can come back to haunt you later on in life. And especially if you're young, you're going to be, how to put it, more susceptible to find somebody new just a couple of years down the road. I mean, these days it's rare that people at a young age, the 18 to 29-year-olds, stay with their same partner over a lifetime. It's not like it was when my parents were young at that age, where people stuck together with their partners. Now, there are some of the main findings from a national respective survey of 4,860 U.S. adults conducted online October 16th to the 28th of last year, using Pew Research Center's American Trend Panel. And I don't know if I can blow that up, or let's see it. That's big enough where you can see it. Several of the terms in this report to describe people's current relationship status. This reference guide explains each term. Single is used to describe people who are not currently committed relationship but may be a casual dating, 31% of the sample. Single and looking refers to people who are not in a committed relationship but may be casually dating and looking for dates or relationship. And that's only 15% of the sample in that survey. Casual dating, you can read all this. I'm not going to go into all of it. But it goes over how many people in each survey were asked these different questions. Now, 40% of partnered adults say they are, okay, we talked about that earlier. At the time of the survey, 4 in 10 Americans who are married, living with a partner, or who are in a committed relationship say they are often or sometimes bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on their cell phone, including 12% who say that they feel this is this way often. And like I said, it's fine to be on your cell phone. It's a way of life nowadays. But if you're going to be there with your partner and say they want to spend time with you, dinner, cuddling, or whatever, then spend that time with them. Don't sit there, like I said, on your phone like, oh, I got to check this and post. It's important. No, it's not. Or at least most of the time it's not. It's basically just scrolling through your cell phone and for things on Facebook or other social media sites like Twitter or Discord or other social media sites. And speaking of which, down in the description there is links for the Talking in the Night Facebook page, LinkedIn page, Twitter, and Discord, and of course this YouTube channel. Sorry, I had to plug that. But yeah, plug that while I'm talking about social media and dating. But anyways, let's get back to the way things were when we actually spent time with our partners or somebody we're dating, rather than picking up our phones and looking at that. I mean, put your phone away. If it's not important, spend time with that person, because that seems more important. Now, in addition, 24% of partner Americans report that they are at least sometimes bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on social media, while a somewhat smaller share, 15%, say they feel this way about their partner playing video games. Now, if you're in that younger crowd, you're probably, it's mostly guys that are going to be playing their video games while their significant other, the partner, is there being like, okay, I don't care for that. I'm going to let him have his time, but how much time of that is actually making your partner mad? You have to think about that. Now, if they're both into gaming, that could be a good thing in a way, but it also could be a bad thing, because you're spending time together, but it's not quality time. It's not understanding your partner so much. I mean, I might get flack for that from the younger crowd, but that's just the way I grew up. Let me get a drink of water here. Now, there are certain groups who are more likely to express annoyance over their partner's digital activities than others. Among partnered adults, women are more likely than men to say they are often bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on their cell phone. 16% of women versus 8% of men. And yes, women like to basically be the one that's going to talk more. And men are more simple in the way of things. But, I mean, yes, there's that study, but think about it. Sometimes they could be just, how to put it, trying to think of the right wording, but the word's right there and I can't think of it, but that's what I was thinking, being hypocrites, because they're going to spend a lot of times on their cell phone if they're getting ignored. So, and like I said, it's vice versa. Or playing video games, 7% of women versus 3% of men. Again, like I said, men that play video games, people that play video games at a younger age, and even some that are older, tend to be more men. Now, beyond gender differences, people's attitude also varies by age. Some 18% of partnered adults ages 18 to 49 say they are often bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on their phone, compared with 6% of those ages 50 and older. Younger adults in romantic relationships also are more likely than their older counterparts to say that they are often bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on social media. 11% of the 18 to 49 versus 4% of 50 and older. And playing video games, 7% younger, 3% older. Now, roughly how? Okay, that part I keep forgetting. The bold part is stuff we already talked about, and I don't want to get all way into this article, but it's a lot of statistics. If I can talk tonight, um, about dating, you can and social media and digital age. So let's get into another article again, just to bring this up. This was by the Pew Research Center for Internet and Technology, Dating and Relationships in the Digital Age. Again, all the links for everything I talk about tonight are down in the description down below. So let's get over into this. And this is dating and relationship in the time of COVID. And if you're watching the show, pop in the chat. Let me know you're watching and everything like that. Join the discussion. And of course, I'm watching the chat. I pay attention to my chat. I pay attention to my viewers. So if you say something, I'm going to pay attention. So let's get into this. Dating and Relationship in the Time of COVID by Dr. Stephanie Lesk. Sweets and Candy, sweetsandscity.com. Sweetsandscity.com. And why has it been difficult for me to, let's hope, let me check my stream health here real quick. Alright, I want to make sure my stream health is good. So it's just being very difficult to do it that way. So we'll do it this way. So these are some of the questions that people ask this expert on dating and relationships in the time of COVID with the lockdowns, the quarantines, everything like that. Now, here's one question that says, how do you suggest dating during COVID, and what specific precautions should definitely be adhered to? And her answer was, I think it's fair to ask someone about their lifestyle to get a sense if they are being responsible. It's all about minimizing risks, and there is no way to eliminate it unless you have zero contact with anybody or anyone. That's not realistic. How about this? Let's go on dates that are outside and decide not to touch or kiss or fool around and get to know the person. Which, for the younger crowd, that don't happen. I mean, even I admit it. At my age, I want to be there kissing and touching the other person. And y'all know how I feel about the whole COVID thing, but we're not getting into that because this is not a political thing. It's not a conspiracy thing. We're talking about dating and relationships. It can really be refreshing to eliminate the physical part and decide if you like the person without clouding the picture. There's this trend of people wanting someone to want them, even if they don't like the person, just because it's different does not make it a problem. So again, like I said, we can still touch each other, we can still kiss each other, and still get to know people. Again, and not getting into my thoughts on the whole virus thing and everything like that, because that's not what this show's about. But live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want done unto you. I mean, if that person's not comfortable with it, don't do it. Simple as that. But a lot of people lose that in translation. Hey, Nicole. About time. Just kidding. Let's see. Like I said, I'm having trouble. How to make FaceTime dates less cringe. Now, again, they're talking about Nicole says, I read that people should kiss with their face mask on, but what's the point? Exactly. I mean, this world has gone stupid, but like I said, we're not going to get into that. But when they're talking about FaceTime dates, they're talking about on the phone where with like, I don't know about Android phones, but with iPhones, they have a FaceTime feature where you can almost like Skype each other. And that's what they're talking about. Or some dating apps have that ability to video chat with another person. A lot of these dating sites like that are a little more questionable, if you will. But for this focus on what we can control, meaning how we view virtual dates, it's a way. Shoot, I'm gonna move this box out of my way a little more so I can read everything. Let's see. Okay, where was I? It's a way to decide if we want to meet someone. Keep it short and sweet instead of going on for hours in the hopes that they ask you out. Similar, weeks of endless texting before meeting someone does not mean much, really. If he doesn't ask or she doesn't ask you out, because nowadays, thanks, Nicole. I mean, women tend to. I mean, like I said, we're gonna get into dating apps here in a moment after some of this stuff, but like one dating app that I'm on, the women reply first. Now that kind of takes away from the old times of when. Okay, not a problem. That it was the man to ask out the woman. Those days are gone. Like I said, people think chivalry is dead, but it's not. It's just people don't want that no more. Or a lot of people forgot what that was like. And I mean, you kind of got to get into. Sometimes you have to stay. Nicole says, I'm going to stay single for a while, but see how that lasts. And sometimes you have to stay single, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I've been single for a while, but I'm working on myself. Because if I try to be with somebody now, it's going to be a whole mess. I want to make sure that I'm good to present to somebody else rather than them having to struggle with me. I want to make sure that I'm good, and I'm likewise. I want to make sure that they're good. But again, to each their own. Now, where was I? Okay, it says if he does not ask you out, he's not ready, available, or into it. And that's okay. Not everyone is going to like or love us, hard as that is to imagine. Still, our attitudes just make things stressful or enjoyable. And if you're temporarily living elsewhere and you had a good chat, it's fine to say, I'll be home next month, so maybe we can pick up on then. Basically, to say, don't spend weeks on end chatting back and forth and you never meet. I'll give you an example. Oops, what the heck? Touched something and it went crazy. I'll give you an example. I was in a relationship for 10 years. I was engaged with this woman. I was younger. I got engaged pretty quick over the phone. Well, yeah, kind of over the phone. But she lived in Canada. I lived in the United States in California. And surprisingly, somehow we stuck it out for 10 years until things just seemed wrong. And I wisened up. But that's what I'm talking about with the constant back and forth. I mean, I met her a couple of times. I actually lived with her for a month. But it was constantly going back and forth rather than working towards a common goal to come together. And if you're endlessly texting back and forth, or talking on the phone back and forth and never meeting, you're wasting your time. Like I said, I wasted 10 years of my life because of that. I was younger. I didn't have all this technology to help me figure things out. I had to figure it out on my own. Again, sorry, some reason it wants to scroll down like that. I keep hitting the wrong button, I guess. Pushing the wrong buttons. We're not. Well, we're never going to get into that. Hopefully, not get into that. Now, we want to avoid heavy texting relationships that make us feel like we are dating someone. Whatever the story, stay positive and remember that you're dating to meet someone and have a nice experience, not to be pen pals. I mean, it's not like they're in prison. You have to write them. I mean, that does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just that when you're both not in jail and everything like that, and you're constantly texting back and forth, that's not the thing to do. I mean, unless you're in a long distance relationship where it makes it difficult, but find out if things are going to work for long distance relationships before going further into it. Let's put it that way. Nicole says, I believe when you're not looking, you'll meet the right person. Yes, sometimes, yes, it does work that way. But sometimes it works by actually getting out there and doing it, because nobody wants to wait there and think, oh, somebody's going to come along eventually. Yes, like I said, maybe sometimes it might, but sometimes you just have to get out there and do the work. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So let's see how to tell if someone, how to tell if it's a real connection versus COVID boredom or boredom loneliness. And I've heard this mentioned before that people are feeling bored, lonely because they can't get out to the bars or to the colleges or coffee shops a lot to meet people because everybody's so locked down in fear because of everything going on. And again, I'm not going to mention too much about my political thoughts, my thoughts on the whole COVID thing. It's not the show for that. Maybe later on down the line. All right. Now, I have a feeling that you may know the answer to this deep down. Sitting with uncertainty in relationships has become this painful experience for people. Not knowing is part of dating, so keep it simple. Do you enjoy your time with this person? Do you feel good about yourself when you are with them? Is there positive energy? These are some of the things that you can ask the other person. Or think, are you happy with this person or this situation? And I can't answer that call as I'm on the phone. They know I'm doing my live stream. Or they should know. Think about what you want or like rather than exhausting yourself wondering what she wanted or thinks. I find that many young women and men too decide somewhere is right for them and it must work out for reasons they do not know. Remember, dating is about learning more about who you are, seeing how you fit, and figuring out what works for you. But don't settle for anything either. I mean, like, I have standards when I'm choosing a woman. I'm not going to lower my standards for anybody. And nobody should lower their standards for me. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Simple as that. You get to choose how your dating years go. Decide that dating is interesting and fun, and it will be decided that it sucks and it will. Perspective and attitude are everything. So don't let the boredom of everything with the lockdowns and everything like that make you feel like you need somebody. I mean, I live alone. Yes, I would love more time to talk with people, but people are so entrenched in the fear with everything going on that a lot of times they don't want to do that. But I'm not going to let it drive me crazy either. Now, seeing a lot of guys, let me scroll down here. Seeing a lot of guys flaking over text before a date even happens, what gives? Yes, us guys can be crazy sometimes. And flaking over what is sitting in a text. That's where the whole endless texting can get crazy and then you never meet. Rather than actually sending maybe a couple of texts and then meeting the person and getting to know the person. Rather than, like I said, the endless spend the time on the phone texting. Okay, Nicole. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, pop in the chat. I respond to the chat and everything like that. The people in the chat. So don't feel like I'm going to bite your head off if you got a different opinion than me. Because that's how we grow as people. That's how we can grow in dating and relationships. So seeing a lot of guys flaking over text before a date even happens, what gives? So the answer from this person is, this expert is, this always happens. And I mean, yes, they might be an expert in their field, but there could also be difference of opinion. Now, this always happens. We have more time to notice it now. Not quite sure why they are flaking, but it doesn't matter. What does matter is you do not need to participate. And I'll give you another example. I was on this dating app, like the one that I was mentioning. I'm not going to mention the name, but if you've been on dating apps, I'm pretty sure you know which one I'm talking about. But like I said, it's where the women respond first. And this woman liked me. So I got to her page, I checked it out. I was like, okay, let me swipe right on this person as well. So we matched. Well, on this app, the women have 24 hours to respond. Now, if you're going to get notifications about somebody liking you, and yes, dating apps hide the fact that a lot of times you got paid to actually find out who likes you, unless they send you a message. And I'm guilty of it myself, liking and not sending a message. But sometimes I like, and then I'll go back and think, okay, was that right swipe or not? Do I really want to message this person? But if you're going to match, and of course the people that I like don't sometimes can't see the likes, but if they could see the likes, they don't match, and that's fine. But if you match and you have the chance to respond, like I was mentioned, this one dating app that the women get to respond first, but they only have like a 24-hour period. I mean, if you get notifications that you match, send that person a message. Like on another dating app, if I was to match with somebody, and I've done this, if I match with somebody, I'm sending them a message. I want to get to know them through a couple of texts, then actually meet in person. Now, let's see. Sidebar on texting, a big source of distress. Someone blowing up your phone doesn't mean they really like you. And taking hours to return a text doesn't mean he's awful or not interested. Or vice versa. Sometimes people do get busy. Don't think just because something might have come up and they can't respond right away. Don't. And I notice a lot of women do this. And not just women, but men too. But we've lost that patience, that understanding that something might have come up. Now, like I said, women have 24 hours to match on that message after they match with somebody. But, I mean, I guess you could say you could probably say like, well, I'm sorry, I'm a little busy right now, but let me get back to you in a little bit. Let somebody know what's going on if you can. But don't waste that whole time. It goes back to that relationship I was in with somebody for 10 years. Don't waste that time of that person, because it wasted the prime years of my life. And that I'm not saying it was strictly her fault, but it was partially my fault for not seeing it sooner. But again, it goes back to that wasting endless texting or endless calling back and forth. It's just not the right thing to do. Now, what is important here is someone is making you wonder if they are into it. Please do not take this as a challenge to get her attention. Again, watch the tendencies to decide someone is great for no reason. Move on, stay sweet, and do not let a stranger impact your mood or work. Ever be thankful they showed you this side before the date and not after. Yeah, and like I said, don't waste 10 years like I did with somebody that wasn't going to make a commitment to being with me. I like I said, I've done it myself. Now, do a lot of people in relationship escalating quicker because of COVID, and what is your thoughts on this? Again, this is from Dr. Stephanie Lesk. Again, all the website links are down in the description down below. And this is her answer. I sure do. Many quarantine together for long periods of time, way too early on. It starts off nice, but were skipped. The ones that earn trust, the ones that where real care develops. Relationships take time to develop that supportive core. And it does. And if you're stuck together and you're just dating, that could have a big issue between the two of you. Much like happens in fitness, this reveals itself as life starts to pick up a little bit. For example, when you live with someone you just met, you don't get the opportunity to learn how they manage their relationships when they aren't together, or how much they prioritize spending time with you. And of course, I get an app notification from the dating app. Go figure, I'm talking about it and my phone sends me a notification from the dating app. Go figure. Or how they plan text on and so on. Expectations management is everything. We cannot possibly know someone's completely after a short, even if intense time period. Note, I have yet to see one COVID relationship stick. And yes, this person probably is right. But I've never noticed it because I've never looked into that kind of study. I'm just talking about it because this is what I have planned for tonight. Now we got about an hour out, so I want to see here. There's quite a few other questions. We're going to leave it there because I got a few more things that I want to talk about before we get into possibly opening up the phone lines if anybody wants to call. And I'll post the number up there when we do. And before we get into this next article, let me go over to the Talk of the Night website. and talkingthenight.com. Oh, and before I forget too, if you're viewing this channel live or in the future when it's not live, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live, post a new video, and everything like that. But I want to talk to people about Talking the Night real quick. This is my website, talkingthenight.com. It's got all kinds of things here. Past story of the day, which is now past story of the week for right now until I get back to doing the show 5 days a week. Recap of the last show. Talking about tonight's show, what's upcoming. I got December's topics, and then starting in January, I am going to start having guests back on the show. We're going to talk about different topics, so I don't have to spend 2 hours talking with you guys or by myself. I have somebody else to kind of interact with. And that's another way we can interact with people is, like I said, the chat is open. So pop in, if you're watching the show, pop in the chat, interact with me. Like I said, I'm constantly watching it. But then you get the story of the week, which is that first article that I've talked about tonight. So you can read the whole thing there too by going to the website. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of other things you can find. Former guests of the show archives. If you want to advertise or sponsor the show, Night Talk newsletter will be coming back as soon as I get to doing about 5 days a week. You can find out about me, a little resume that my teacher for one of my class made us put up on the website. You can find a blog that I've done for this and the Into the Paranormal videos, store, contact the show, show archives. I forgot to mention that, where you can find all the shows there. So you can find all that information on talkingthenight.com. So let's get into this about tips for finding the right person. And this is notifications for other YouTubers that I follow. But dating tips for finding the right person. This is from helpguide.org. Obstacles for finding love. Are you single and looking for love? Are you finding it hard to meet the right person? When you're having trouble finding a love connection, it's too easy to become discouraged or buy into the destructive myths out there about dating and relationships. Life as a single person offers many rewards, such as being free to pursue your own hobbies and interests, learning how to enjoy your own company, which I have done for like 2 years now, and appreciating the quiet moments of solitude. However, if you're ready to share your life with someone and want to build a lasting, well-worth relationship, life as a single person can also seem frustrating. Yes, it does get frustrating for me over time, but like I said, and I'm still out there looking to meet somebody, but I want to also, at the same time, like I said earlier, focus on myself, because I don't want to give the other person a bad version of me, if you will. For many of us, let's see, yeah, that's where I was left off. Yeah, for many of us, our emotional baggage can make finding the right romantic partner a difficult journey. Perhaps you grew up in a household where no one was no role model of a solid, healthy relationship, and you doubt that such a thing even exists. And yes, it happens. People feel that they didn't have that role model to show them how to do everything. Of course, like me, I didn't have that either. My parents pretty well, I kind of did, but I didn't. My parents were the kind of person, you want something, you go out there and earn it. You go out there and do it yourself. And everything I had to do was, I didn't have that somebody stand beside me. They pushed me to learn how to do it on my own because they were raised that way. Now, of course, if I ever have kids, which I want to, I'm going to kind of mix both of them together. Sorry, gotta get a drink of water. Been talking for an hour and 11 minutes. But I'm gonna kind of mix the two together. And yes, I'm gonna make them go out there, earn what they want, get out there and do it themselves. But if at the same time, if they need help with something, I'm gonna give them little tips and helpful tips that I had to learn on my own. And that's where parents should. Sorry, you're getting notifications again for Facebook. Can't check those messages. But don't let it frustrate you, is basically what's saying. Or maybe your dating history consists only of brief flings and you don't know how to make a relationship last. Now, to put some emphasis on that, I mean, that's not always the case. Sometimes the other person's not feeling it. Like, I'm probably one of the nicest persons you can meet. But in this day and age, people don't like, women don't like that nice guy. Or I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them want that bad boy type. And they miss out on somebody that's going to treat them right because they rather have that bad boy type. But if you let somebody know that I enjoy nice guys, but I want you to be a little more adventurous, then things might actually seem better. But again, I'm no expert in this field. I'm just telling you what I've experienced and going off of what I'm reading here and interjecting some of the experiences that I've had. And yes, I've had a lot of them, a lot of relationships in my life. But again, a lot of them have either lied, cheated, and a few of them have ghosted me before. And like I said, going back to the whole thing of, you're not feeling it, let somebody know. Don't just disappear completely. I mean, you're going to make that person mad or frustrated more if you ghost them than you would if you would say, I'm not feeling it. Don't wait till you're weeks into the relationship. If you're not feeling it, like after 2 dates, let somebody know. I mean, I wouldn't take it wrong. Be like, okay, was there some way I could, I mean, I would probably say, is there some way I can change? But if not, I would also say, if not, that's fine. I respect your decision and move on. It's like, I've gotten to the point where like I said, I've been lied to, cheated, ghosted, and so many times that, and I don't see it as my fault, but it also could be something that I did, but nobody says anything. But the way I see it now is, if you're going to do that to somebody, I'm like, next, and move on with my life. I'm not going to let it hang over my head like a dark cloud. Now, you could be attracted to the wrong type of people, which I was talking about, the women liking the bad boy type rather than seeing the potential in a good guy, or keep making the same bad choices over and over, which I've seen happen before, due to an unresolved issue from your past. Or maybe you're not pulling yourself into the best environments to meet the right person. Sometimes the bar is not the right decision, but neither is dating apps, the way I see it. I mean, they're just a tool, but you got to get to know the person. And sometimes the dating apps are not the right choice, neither is bar sometimes. Meeting people in churches, meeting people at coffee shops, meeting people at park, or something like that. I mean, expand your horizons. Or that when you do, you don't feel confident enough. Whatever the case may be, you can overcome your obstacles. Even if you've been burned repeatedly or have a poor track record when it comes to dating, these tips can help you put you on the path to find a healthy, loving relationship that lasts. And it gives you a whole bunch of tips, and we're going to get into some of these tips, everything like that. But what is a healthy relationship? Based on mutual respect, trust, honesty, support, fairness, equality, separate identities. Don't try to force somebody to be like you. Good communication, but don't overdo it either. A sense of playfulness, fondness. And here's some common myths and stuff like that. Let's read a couple of these and then we're going to get into the tips. Like I said, I don't want to waste too much time on this. Myth: I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship, or it's better to have a bad relationship than no relationship. And basically, the lesser of two evils is still evil. Basically, a bad relationship than no relationship, it's like being in no relationship. So the fact, according to this website, is while there are health benefits that come with being in a solid relationship, many people can just as happy and fulfilled without being part of a couple. Despite the stigma in some social circles that accompanies being single, it is important not to enter a relationship just to fit in. Yeah, you don't want to get like, oh, all my friends are doing this, they're in relationships, so I should be in one. Like the old saying, if Bob told you to jump off a cliff, would you do it? Or if they're jumping off a cliff, would you do it? That's one thing our parents used to say when I was younger. Or at least my generation. So, I mean, don't enter something just to fit in. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. And nothing is as unhealthy and despairing as being in a bad relationship. Another myth: if I don't feel an instant attraction to someone, it's not a relationship worth pursuing. Well, I see a problem with that too, because yes, you might not be attracted, but have you heard the term opposites attract? Or maybe you just don't know. You're probably going on looks alone. And like me, I look for what the person's about as far as in dating apps and stuff like that is. I love to read about people, try to figure out a little bit before I contact them. and I don't go off the looks a lot of times. I'm not saying I don't do that to an extent. Sometimes I can look at the picture as well as the information, and it just don't match up, or it doesn't feel right to me. But now, okay, fact, this is an important myth to dispel, especially if you have a history of making inappropriate choices. Instant sexual attraction and lasting love do not necessarily go hand in hand. Our emotions can change and deepen over time, and friends sometimes become lovers if you give those relationships a chance to develop. And that's the way I feel is I like to more kind of be friends with somebody in a sense first and try not to push anything, because think about it, the longer you're together, that friendship is going to last into that relationship and last into that marriage and last into life. But those days are long gone. So you can read all these other myths and facts. Let's get into some dating tips. Keep things in perspective. Don't make... And of course, like I said, everything is in the description down below. All the links are in the description down below. Don't make your search for a relationship the center of your life. Concentrate on activities you enjoy, your career, health, relationship, and family and friends. When you focus on keeping yourself happy, it keeps your life balanced and makes you a more interesting person when you do meet someone special. Now, see, like this, doing this weekly YouTube show until I get doing it 5 days a week, it's what I want to do for a career. It makes me happy. It helps put out information to you that are viewing this channel that you might not have known unless you tuned in, or maybe you knew but you thought of something else. So, as I said earlier, make yourself happy, because if you don't make yourself happy, you're going to make somebody else that you're in a relationship with miserable. Remember that first impressions aren't always reliable, especially when it comes to internet dating. It always takes time to really get to know a person, and you have to experience being with someone in a variety of situations. For example, how well does this person hold up under pressure, when things go well, or when they're tired, frustrated, or hungry? And you can't know that over dating apps, and that's... Yes, I'm part of dating apps, but it just doesn't do it for me, because I'd rather meet the person in person and get to know them face to face rather than the endless text and the calling back and forth. And of course, you can meet people from all over the country, sometimes scams, fakes. It's happening. Again, we're going to talk about dating apps here in a moment. Be honest about your flaws and shortcomings, and I'm not going to read all this because we are already an hour and 24 minutes in. Be a genuine connection. Focus outward, not inward. Be curious. Be genuine. Pay attention. Put your smartphone away, like I was saying earlier. That endless texting, it's gonna cause problems down the road. Putting a priority on having fun, and that's what you're gonna go on a date for, is to have fun, to enjoy each other's company, see what their likes and dislikes are, see if you're a match or not. Give some examples: volunteer, sign up for a dance, cooking, art class, running club, hiking group, sports team, theater group, photography club, local food and tasting events, stuff like that. Handle rejection gracefully. Some people don't take it gracefully. They don't take it, they take it personally when you shouldn't take it personally. Don't dwell on it, but learn from the experience. Like I said, every bad relationship that I've been in, I've learned from the experience, but also at the same time, like I said, I say next. I'm not going to let it dwell in my mind because that's not pushing me forward, that's pushing me back. Acknowledging your feelings, watch for some relationship red flags, if they're alcohol dependent or trouble making a commitment, nonverbal communication is off, jealousy about outside interests, controlling behavior, relationship exclusive sexual, no one-on-one time, like constantly basically going out with friends rather than having one-on-one interactions. Tip number 6, deal with trust issues, nurture your budding relationship. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go into all this, but you can go to the link in the description, find this article from helpguide.com, dating tips for finding the right person. So let's talk about some dating apps real quick. I'm going to pull up this dating in the digital age. This was done 7 years ago, but I'm not going to be talking about that because there are so many dating apps. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to turn off this window capture and to talk about the dating apps. So many people are on their phones, swiping left, swiping right, like, oh, this one. And a lot of times it's people just looking at the picture and just swiping right or left. They don't take time to read, or sometimes people don't post that picture, or they post pictures that might draw the wrong interest, if you will. The way I look at it as far as dating apps, if you're going to be on a dating app, write a little something about yourself, what you like and everything like that. You don't have to make it a long book either, but don't leave that empty. Also, another thing that I find annoying is people only post one picture. If you are into pictures, you want to see more than one. But like me, like I said, I want to see the picture, but I also want to see what the person writes. But I also want to see the pictures to see, kind of get an idea of what they like, their personality, what they enjoy doing. So have more than one and two pictures. And again, don't make them sexual, because there are dating sites that is prevalent, like Plenty of Fish, like Tinder. I'm sure every app has that little bit, but those are more of the hookup sites. That now there are strictly hookup sites, but as far as dating sites go, those are more of a hookup site than anything. If you're looking for a specific thing, let that other person looking at your profile know that's what you're looking for. Let them know that, oh, I want a casual relationship, or I want a serious relationship, or I want marriage. A lot of dating sites do have that option. And it kind of helps people decide, is this person going to be the right person for me? But again, go off of everything. Don't go off of just the picture like, ooh, she's cute, or he's cute. Let's swipe right. Oh, no, ugly. No. Take time to get to see what they post. Because maybe, to give you an example, let's say, even with me, I'm a country boy. Yes, I love country women. But I do have a weird fascination for goth girls. It's just weird that way, but yes, it can happen. And again, with the standards, don't sell yourself short, but don't be overbearing on the thing. Like me, I'm looking for the younger woman so I can still have kids. Because I wasted, like I mentioned earlier, wasted that 10 years at the beginning of my early life and adult life, and I can't get that back, but I want to have kids. So I'm looking now for that, but I'm not going to rush anything either to push for those kids. Because it's a mutual contract between you and the other person. You got to see if that's going to work together. Like I said, don't sell yourself short on your standards. Stick to what you want, but be willing to make little changes. Like me, like using the kid thing. That's one thing I'm never gonna change on. That's something that is not going to happen as far as a change, but maybe something else that you thought, okay, this is what my standard is. I'm setting the bar this high, but there's somebody that you like that's maybe this much lower, but you're like, but my standard's up here. Don't be afraid to change that standard a little bit if it might mean a connection. That's just some advice, but like I said, just some advice that I've experienced in my time in the dating pool and everything like that. So let's get back into, I want to play that video and maybe open up the phone lines. But let's play this video. And this is, like I said, from CT Style. This only has 48 views, but it was posted in 2017. Now I don't know how much more stuff that it has no comments, but let's see what they say about dating in a digital age.
To say that technology and social media has radically changed dating is an understatement. That's why it's important to learn how to navigate the waters of dating when it comes to technology. Here to help us do just that with her own cheat sheet is Kiara Atik. Kiara is the author of the Modern Dating, a Field Guide. She's back on the show today. Nice to have you here.
Nice to see you.
So much new technology, Facebook, Twitter, texting. It has changed dating.
It's changed dating. It's made it a little more difficult. It's hard to...
And as she said, it's made it more difficult because even 7 years ago, people were more in tune to going out and meeting people. And of course, you know why I have to pause every once in a while, because I got to make it seem like fair use. Now, I don't need to stop every 30 seconds, but I wanted to talk about that. It's making it a little difficult.
Know when to contact someone you're dating or through what medium. Should you send them a Facebook message? Should you use text? Should you call? It's gotten pretty confusing.
I would say so. And in the same department, online dating has really taken off, and you actually recommend it.
Yeah, I think online dating is just a boon for singles. People think of it as sort of signing up for an online dating site is like officially registering as a single person. I think people think of it as a last resort, but honestly, it's a supplement to your dating life. It doesn't mean you're only meeting people online, but if you're really looking for a special someone or a partner, why not use all the resources available to you?
And like I said, I do that myself. I use the resources that are out there, but it's not my only thought. I mean, again, like I said, I'd rather go out to the bar. I'd rather go out and meet people out in public rather than rely on those dating apps, because sometimes they don't work. Or at least for guys, they don't work that often. Girls, I mean, you can get anybody to. I mean, you post one good-looking picture, and you get all the guys like, oh, like, swipe. Not everybody. I'm just saying that's what it's come a lot to. But guys don't really get that much like that. But again, this was 7 years ago.
And online dating is a great one.
And a couple of reasons why. You're too busy to meet people.
Yeah, people are so busy, it's hard to find time to go out and really put an effort into meeting people. Online dating takes half an hour a night to message people and look through profiles. It's convenient. If you're tired of the bar scene and the hookup scene, maybe it worked when you were in college or younger, and now you just don't want to have to go into that anymore. If you're tired of getting set up by your friends or your mom, and you think, if I have to get set up...
I've never... well, I can't say never, but most of the time I've never gotten set up by my friends. But like I said, I'm the way I've met some of the people that I met people through is through friends, but they didn't set me up with that person. I mean, I went out to bars, I met people, I talked with people, and then I became friends with them, and then they had friends that we connected and everything like that. That's one way to do it, but the dating app, with everybody so busy these days, and especially in this time of 2020, where it's harder to meet people, then yes, those apps can play a good point. But a point with those apps I want to make is, if you're going to be in a relationship, don't delete it after 1 or 2 dates. Let the other person at least know that I'm going to keep this for 3 dates just in case, but I'm not going to... Now, there are some people that like to date multiple people at a time. Me, I'm a one-woman man. I like to... if I'm in a relationship with somebody, that's who I'm going to be in a relationship with. I'm not going to put somebody else on a side plate for that date and then go on this date. That's just not how I was raised. That's not how I do it. But to each their own. But like I said, let the other person know, regardless of which way you're going, is that I'm going to keep this on here for 3 dates, so that way I know things are going to work out, but I'm not going to touch this site. I'm not going to swipe or anything like that. I'm not going to message anybody new or anything like that. It's basically like when you're on a date. Hang up that phone. Put that phone on silent. Put it away. Interact with the person that you're on the date with, rather than constantly on the phone or computer or something like that. Because we lost a lot. Excuse me. We lost a lot of that interaction between each other. And I don't know if it's ever going to come back. Those days might be gone. So let's continue with this video.
One more time, I'm quitting life. There's so many reasons to try.
Even to get your confidence back a little bit, right?
Yeah, sometimes you just need to do a little bit of online flirtation, or just go on a date and remember.
Your mojo up.
Yeah, remember that you're an attractive person that people want to go out with.
Sure. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what we should do setting this up. First, for starters, the About Me section. You have a formula.
Yeah. So most dating sites have some sort of section, however they phrase it, where you just have a...
Now, see, a lot of people don't think about how to write that. And yes, like I mentioned earlier, like sometimes that long, drawn out thing can be boring as heck. But also, if you don't have nothing written down, that doesn't leave no clue to who you are.
Blank page to write about yourself, and you want to make yourself stand out, and you also want to make it clear what it's like to hang out with you, what sort of person you are.
Okay.
So a good way to think of it is you want to add in 3 hobbies, things that you like to do.
And probably not lie.
Yeah, don't lie. Lying gets you nowhere. Lying just gets you bad dates with people
Okay.
that you're not compatible with.
Sure.
And then add in some of your favorite things. This is my favorite movie. This is my favorite type of food. This is what I like to do on weekends. Just something that really gives the person looking at your profile like, oh, I can imagine what it would be like to spend a weekend with this.
Now, like I said, yeah, all that stuff is good, but don't make it a book out of it. Keep it kind of short, like maybe 2 paragraphs at the most, or like 4 sentences. Keep it short, but let people know what you're about rather than writing a book. And I've seen that a lot, and I'm not saying that mine is short by any means on one of the dating sites, but it's not long as what I've seen other people post. I mean, you have to literally scroll down quite a bit just to get to the end of the summary about that person. And that's too much. People's attention spans have dwindled over the years. And people don't want to read all that. So keep it simple, keep it kind of short. But again, post something.
Sure.
With this person.
The picture is an important step, right? The profile pic, and you could go really wrong with this, right?
Yeah, and it is the most important thing, really.
I mean, it's the first thing people are going to see.
It's the first thing people are going to see. There are definitely some profile pictures to avoid. You don't want to do a mirror selfie with the flash in the mirror and like the sultry look. You don't want to do a photo that's too cropped closely on your face, especially if it's the only photo, because people just think like, okay, what is that
What's
person
the other half
hiding?
look like,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Fair
Why
enough.
is it so grainy? You definitely want to have a full body shot. It doesn't matter really your body type, but that matters is that you're upfront about it. That the person who's looking at you doesn't feel like you're trying to get away with something or hiding or masking what you're not.
And you probably want the picture of just you, I would assume.
Yeah, don't use this time to put up a picture with your super hot cousin. Just you really want to.
Yeah, and there's another thing that I've seen a lot on dating sites is people have only one picture, but it's like of a vacation spot. That to me that screams scam. That to me that screams fake, and you don't want to make yourself seem fake to other people. So don't have one picture and it be like of a scene on the beach but nobody in it. I mean, that leaves way too much to the imagination. Leave a little bit to the imagination, but as she said, post like full body pictures, because it's saying don't lie about yourself, basically. I mean, you can say that basically in words you can say you're thin, but when they meet you in person, you're overweight. I mean, that can be lying. That's why I said, I mean, I'm a little bit big. I got a little bit of a gut. But I posted a full body picture because I'm not ashamed of that. If you don't want that, that's on you. That's fine. I'm not hurt by it.
Everybody do that.
People do that, and it's like, oh, come on. Yeah, you want to put yourself in your best light. Travel pictures are great. You having fun, you laughing at a friend's wedding dressed up.
No duck face.
No duck face. No duck face.
All right. Cutting and pasting messages. Probably not a good idea. Make it a little personalized.
Yeah,
right?
make it personal. Like, don't just say hey or you're cute, or if it's a cut and paste message and if it's more about yourself than the other person, the person's going to see right through that and they're not going to be inclined to respond to you.
Okay. And then lastly, you say don't wink. Are we talking about the smiley face wink?
Yeah, whether it's a wink or
Does
a
annoy me,
flirt
right?
or like a poke, whatever. It's just sort of throwing the ball in the other person's court. And what are they supposed to do with that? If you like someone, message them. Start a conversation.
Just be upfront. That's the key.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that might also, another thing, might also send the wrong message to that other person as well. Like, oh, he's only into this or that. No, like I said, get to know somebody first.
And it's okay for women to make the first move?
Yes, especially on online dating, because I think women are often inundated with messages when they sign up for these sites. And a lot of them, honestly, are people that they're not going to want to go on a date with. So take matters into your own hands, comb through, find the guys that you'd like to have coffee with or a drink with, and send them a message.
Great.
Yeah, like I said, don't leave it. I mean, I grew up on a time when the guy made the first move. And yes, the guy should, but also women, she said, that a lot of women get all these messages. Guys get maybe this many message compared to women of this many messages on dating sites and social media. And it's like, rather than getting all these messages, weed them out and choose your own thing. I think that's where Bumble went with it. Like, that's one of the dating apps I mentioned earlier, that women make the first move. But if you're gonna connect, you gotta say, okay, if I like this person, we connect, let me send that message. Because on Bumble, I can't send a message until they send the message first. So don't ignore that message. If somebody's going to message you and you connect, use that connection to respond.
And lastly, you say don't use your last name.
Unless you're okay with them Googling you. And
that's exactly what's going to happen, and everyone's going to know your life story.
I always Google my dates. As soon I hope that they leave their last name so I can know everything about them. But yeah.
So leave it off if you want to have a little bit of mystery.
Just have some mystery.
All right, Kara, thank you so much for all the advice. The name of the book again is Modern Dating, a Field Guide. It is available just about everywhere. Great tips. A lot of fun having you here. And stay with us. More Connecticut Style after the break. We'll be right back.
Okay, and see, that was on CT Style, which is Connecticut Style, the Connecticut, I guess, news channel or something like that. But a link for this video is in the description, as well as all the other things. Now, I want to, we got about 12 minutes. If anybody wants to call, let me close this real quick. And also, if you're viewing this live or later on, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I do go live so you don't miss a thing. And I want to, let's pull up the call number, and it's right up here. Make sure that it's there. But it's scrolling up at the top. If you want to call in, share your dating advice or experiences, the number is up there. I'll give it a couple minutes, see if anybody's going to call in. Now, like I was mentioning on the dating apps, unless we get any calls, then I'll stop talking about it. But people, like I said, there's different dating apps. You got to find out what's right for you. Like Plenty of Fish, like I said, it's more of a hookup site than anything. I don't think it started out that way, but it became that way. Tinder is more of a hookup site. Bumble, there's OkCupid. Some of them have become more hookup sites than actual dating sites. Match, eHarmony, A lot of these are paid sites, so sometimes paid is not always the best way to go. Because if you're like me, where you don't get many messages, why would I want to pay for a site that I'm not going to get messages? I'm not finding the person that I think fits for me. Or, like I said, I'm working on myself more than looking at the dating app. So why am I going to spend that money to be on a dating site? To each their own, like I said, but that's not me. But there's so many dating apps out there. And like I said, even Facebook has gotten into the dating world with their own dating page. And I've got mine on there too. So you can look me up. Just kidding. Unless you want to. But like I said, find out what works for you. Sometimes the dating app might not be the best choice for you. Going out there to a church meeting or a church organization meeting or something like that might be better suited for you. Find what works for you. But don't settle for less either. Don't say, oh, this person don't look right. And don't look at the picture only and decide off of that, because sometimes you might miss something extraordinary about a person. Like me, like I'll look at, like I mentioned, I want kids, so I'll look at the profile, I'll read what they post, if they've written anything about themselves, but I also look and see, like Bumble, they have a thing on there that says that they want kids or they don't want kids, or they have kids and don't want more. And like I said, I look at that, and if they say they don't want or don't want more, I'm more inclined to swipe left on that person than on right, because of my standards there for that one thing, which I will not compromise for. But there might be something else that I might compromise for. Just because they're of a political party different than you, that you might be able to compromise there. Sometimes maybe not, but I mean, it's possible. So don't go off just the picture alone. That's what I'm saying. So I don't think anybody's going to call for the show. And once I am no longer live, please do not call the show. It's not going. The phone line is not going to be answered because it's hooked to my cell phone. So can't see the cell phone, but you can't see the screen either. Good. Can't see what I got on. But yeah, I got my cell phone in my hand. And just because it's a white screen and black case with the, because what's behind me is a green screen. See, if I put it over my face kind of, or get it in the right lighting, I think it is, you can tell that I have my cell phone. But like I said, that number that's up above is connected to my cell phone, and I'm not going to answer it unless I'm live. So don't call that. So let me turn off that call-in number because I don't think anybody's going to call. So we got 5 minutes left. Let me go back here to the website, and let me go back to the show's website, talkingthenight.com. I'm going to be working on a store shortly where you can buy t-shirts and other things. But there's some other things I got to get done first, and I got to get through college. Figure out how I'm going to do 4 classes in this every week. But I'm going to do it. But like I said, you can find the show archives, guests of the show, all that stuff, what's coming up. So I want to mention what is coming up. Next week is Thanksgiving, so there will be no show. I'll be doing a pre-recorded show, History of Thanksgiving. It'll be posted at 8 p.m. next Saturday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. But it'll be pre-recorded. No live stream next week. I want you to all enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family and loved ones, if you have that, or even friends. Don't let this fear of this whole pandemic, as I like to call it, but again, we're not doing a political show. Don't let this deter you from enjoying Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna do a pre-recorded show, the history of Thanksgiving, for next Saturday. Again, it'll be posted at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you can watch it anytime after that. So what we got coming up for December, since December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day, the 5th, we're going to talk about Pearl Harbor and the hauntings that happened on the side of one of the worst acts of war ever. Then December 12th, the following week, we're going to talk about the Bermuda Triangle mysteries. We're going to talk about different stories of planes, boats, all kinds of stuff going missing, people going missing, ships going missing, Flight 19. We're going to talk about stories like a pilot that in a Cessna that was traveling from, I forget where, to Florida, Miami, and what should have took our trip only took like hours long of a trip, only took like an hour because he entered some kind of rift. So we're going to talk about the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle on December 12th. December 19th, we're going to get into how different cultures and religions celebrate Christmas time. For Wiccans like myself, we celebrate Yule and the winter solstice. So, but we're going to talk about different religions and cultures, how they celebrate that time of year. The following week after that, December 26th, there is going to be no show. There's not going to be a recorded show. I'm going to give you some time to spend time with your family. And of course, on that day is my birthday, so there will be no show that night. And I don't feel like recording a show to air on my birthday. So I'm going to give you some time to do that. Now, on the 30th of December, which is, let me see something. 30th of December is on a Wednesday. Now that's going to be a special Wednesday night show because rather than do one on the 31st and one on the 2nd, I might actually want to go out and celebrate New Year's Eve. So we're doing it the night before. My annual prediction show. I make predictions for what's coming up the following year, and I'll read some of the predictions that I had for last year and let you know what came true, what didn't come true, what people predicted would come true, what didn't come true, stuff like that. Then, that's part one. Then on the 2nd, we're going to start off the new year, 2021, with part 2 of my annual prediction show, where we're going to get into maybe somebody on this, maybe some guests on the show to make their predictions for 2021. Psychics, mediums, numerologists, stuff like that. Maybe. I still got to work on that. And then, like I said, next month I'm going to be working on contacting some guests. I've already contacted some guests that told them that I'm going to be contacting them in December to schedule. So in December, I'm going to start scheduling guests for January, February, March, April, so forth into 2021. And we're going to get into that. So, like I said, check out talkingthenight.com. You can find out all the information about the show, what's coming up. You can watch the past show of the day. Like I said, you can visit the show archives where you can find all the recent videos. If you need more, go to my YouTube channel, which is right here. A link is for it right here. And you can find stuff that I did when I was doing my radio days, but they were posted as videos on YouTube. So you can find a lot more. I just don't feel like going back that far for this new website. So there's so much you can find out about on talkingthenight.com. So go there, check it out. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me do this real quick. Get rid of this and this and that. And again, like I said, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get notified so you know when I go live or post a video like I'm doing next week. So until next week, I want to thank everybody that tuned in live and those that watch this later on. So until then, I shall see you on the next time. Good night from Talk of the Night. It's late at night. Darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio. And you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say. All about paranormal.